Hello and welcome to this episode of Nucleus Wealth Empower. Happy new financial year to one and all. All right, I know I'm a bit late with that, but today we're going to talk about and look at some of the changes that have come into effect for this financial year, FY24 already. I can't believe it. So we're going to look at how you might use them in your personal financial situation to be able to take advantage of them, or some of the things that you should be aware of that may affect you. So to do so, we have Nucleus Wealth Senior Financial Advisor, Samuel Kerr. Sam, welcome.
Hi, Shelley. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you here. Thanks, Sam. So before we kick off to the episode, there is one really important point that I want to make, and that's that anything we talk about in this show or any of the Nucleus Wealth episodes, it's general in nature, which means that it's general advice. It's not going to necessarily be specific to your personal circumstances. So if you're looking to apply it, you really need to take that into account, how it may or may not work for you. But of course, if you do have any questions or you'd like to discuss anything with us, you can get in touch with us. You can call us 1300 623 863 or contact@nucleuswealth.com or also nucleuswealth.com/contact to make a booking to meet with us, Sam in particular. All right, so I'm Shelley George, Chief Operating Officer at Nucleus Wealth, and coming to you today from the lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. So, Sam, let's kick off. Where should we start?
Okay, Shelley. So first thing that most people are aware of is the SG rate has increased from 10.5% to 11%. It was legislated. It went up on the 1st of July, 2023. But there are a couple of things to be aware of. I just want to make the listeners aware of. There's a couple of traps and just things that you should be aware of. So I'm just going to run through these. If there's anything that's not clear or you got any questions, just interrupt me and ask. So firstly, if you are on a total package salary, you want to just check your contract and see what the actual wording states. Because if you're on a total package, the SG rate's gone from 10.5% to 11%. But your total package will stay the same. So your SG may have gone up, but you may have actually got a slight pay decrease to, let's say if it was $100,000, your SG would have gone up, but your pay would have gone down slightly to keep it at $100,000 total package. So it could be an opportunity to have a little conversation with the employer and see if they can bump up both the salary and the SG contribution. So it could be a good opportunity to have a chat. Second thing I want to talk about with regards to the SG increase is if you've got a salary sacrifice agreement in place with your employer already, and you're currently salary sacrificing right up to the 27,500 concessional contribution cap, with the increase in SG, that is likely going to bump you up over that 27,500 cap, and then there'll be penalty tax to pay. So you want to go back and readjust your salary sacrifice agreement just to make sure you're staying within or right on that 27,500 cap. So that was the second thing I wanted to talk about. Next thing.
Can I ask a question about that one, please?
Of course.
Okay, so when I was reading your article, which is great, thank you, by the way, and I will put that in the show notes for anyone who might want to reference that as well, if that's the way you prefer to approach learning about these things. Okay, so I did have a question. I didn't fully understand how this would take you over the limit. So the 27,500 is that the cap on concessional contributions per year?
Yes, that's right.
Right, and so that actually includes what your employer is making on your behalf. Is that right?
Yes, so that's what your employer contributes, SG contributions, any salary sacrifice contributions, and any personal deductible contributions. So your employer was putting in 10.5%, and if you were salary sacrificing the rest up to 27,500, whatever amount that is, X amount, that's going to stay the same, and that'll take you right to that cap. But then if your SG's gone up a little bit and you're still salary sacrificing the same amount, that's more than likely going to bump you over that 27,500, and that's where there'll be additional penalty tax to pay. So that's why we want to revise it.
That's very helpful. I think up until this point, I didn't understand that 27,500 included what your employer made on your path. So thank you.
Okay, great. The next thing I want to touch on in regards to SG is the rate is legislated to go up to 12% per annum in 2025. So next, 1st of July next year, 2024, it's going to go up to 11.5%. And then 1st of July 2025, it's going to go up to 12%. And it's going to stay at that rate going forward until the government decides to change it. But yeah, it's legislated to go to 12%. And one thing on that, so this financial year just gone, just the recent change, and then the next two, one thing to be aware of is the SG will be calculated when people are paid, not when the money is earned. So you could have earned the money in June 2023 this year, but got paid in July 2023 this year, and that would mean you would get paid 11% on when you actually get paid. So in July for the work done in June. Is that clear, Shelley? I hope I explained that well.
That is perfectly clear. Yeah, you've done a really great job of all of that. I think one of the things that just occurred to me, one of the questions I wanted to ask was, or maybe highlight, that when you were mentioning that the rate is scheduled to increase another 2 times before we get to, at the moment, what's the legislated target rate. And this idea of if you sort of have your salary quoted as a total package, including superannuation, then that sort of, I guess, means another couple of cuts to your take-home pay if nothing changes between now and then. And so I guess I thought I might mention that if, as you suggested, you go and negotiate with your boss, you could potentially negotiate kind of the whole thing and take that contribution, the super contribution, kind of out of that total figure. So you could renegotiate a pay plus superannuation, as a lot of contracts are done. You know, you might not have the ability to do this, but I guess if you are going to go and have a conversation, then it's worth keeping in mind that there's another 2 bump ups still scheduled to come. And so you might want to, it's up to you, but you might want to just negotiate a different structure to take that into account going forward.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it's just a good opportunity to have a conversation if you're willing to, go there and put it out on the table.
Fantastic. All right. Was there anything else on the SG contributions that you wanted to discuss?
That's everything for now. Let's move on. So there's been a few super changes. So we'll discuss all the super changes, and then at the end, I want to talk about contribution splitting as just some opportunities for people with their super there, and we'll just talk about some of the benefits of that. But next, I've got a slide up there, Shelley. If you can just share that, please. So for the last 3 years in pension phase, firstly in pension phase, it's legislated that you have to do a minimum drawdown every year. And for the last 3 years, that's been reduced. So it's been cut in half when COVID hit. The government reduced the minimum pension drawdown by 50%. And that's been in place for the last 3 financial years. So as of 1st of July 2023, the rates have gone back to the previous pre-COVID rates. And as far as I'm aware, there's no intention to change these going forward unless we have some other type of event there. So once you hit 65, between 65 to 74, it's now back at 5%. And that's when you turn 65, that's an automatic condition of release. So you can, even if you're still working, you can switch your super to pension phase, and take advantage of that tax-free environment. So yeah, that's a bit of a simple one. Have you got any questions about that, Shelley?
No questions.
We'll be back with the investment insights very shortly. Nucleus Wealth is an active and passive investment manager. If you like what you're hearing and want some help with your investing, we can do it for you via our active portfolios. Our tactical and core portfolios use the insights shared in this podcast to construct and manage your investment. We blend tactical portfolios to offer our combinations of international shares, Australian shares, government bonds, and cash. We vary the asset allocation with the goal of protecting your capital in times of market uncertainty. We also have active international and Australian share portfolios. These are chosen using our quality and value investment philosophy. You can find out more at nucleuswealth.com. Now back to the show. Okay, great. So we'll move on from there. One other change that's just been brought in as of 1st of July is the transfer balance cap has increased from 1.7 to 1.9 million. And I'll just explain what the transfer balance cap is. That is the total amount that you can move from accumulation into pension phase. So this is going to affect a small amount of people. But the main benefit, so you can get an extra 200,000 into pension phase, and the main benefit of pension phase is it's a completely tax-free environment. So no tax on any capital gains, no tax on any earnings, and no tax on any withdrawals. So it's really just allowing people to get more money into pension phase and take advantage of that tax-free environment. So yeah, pretty simple, but beneficial for the people that are eligible for that.
Certainly seems important because it's quite a big change, like a big increase to me. It seems like quite a lot.
Yeah, so it's indexed and it's been a few years. I can't remember the exact year that where it changed from 1.5 to 1.7. But yeah, it does go up gradually.
So do they index it, but they'll like only increase it once that indexing hits like plus 200,000 or something like that?
Yes, pretty much.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just so they don't change the rules all the time. Don't
sure.
bump it up year after year.
Okay. So if you have already transferred 1.7 in, say 1, 2, 3 years ago, can you now go and transfer another 200,000, or is it only if you haven't started that yet?
Yes. So you can go and transfer another 200,000. And people often get the transfer balance cap confused with the total super balance. So the total super balance is the total amount that you've got in pension phase and also in accumulation phase. So you can have only a maximum of 1.9 million in pension phase at the moment. As of 1st of July, but you can have as much as you like outside of in accumulation phase, there's, I'm sure many of the listeners are aware of Labor's intention to tax any balances over 3 million now. So, but yeah, those laws are still getting finalised. So don't want to comment on that just now.
That 3 million balance, Sam, is that being proposed on the total super balance? So pension and accumulation?
It'll be on the total super balance. It'll be on the it'll be on the total super balance. So the 1.9 million will remain tax free, and then the other 1.1 million, if that's still in accumulation phase, that'll be taxed at a maximum of 15%, and then anything over that still in accumulation phase will cop that 30% tax. So yeah, it's pretty controversial, that new rule.
Interesting. We'll have to watch that space. So then another question that I had for you about this, if you have money in pension and accumulation, can you still be contributing to the accumulation account?
Yes, you can.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
As long. So if you are still working. So when you turn 65, that's an automatic condition of release. So you can continue to work and then transfer however much into pension phase, however much within the transfer balance cap. And you can also make non-concessional contributions up to age 65, up to age 75. And the government last year, they abolished the rules, the work test rules. So anybody can make those non-concessional contributions up to age 65 into super. And the reason...
Sorry, 65 or 75?
75.
Right, so you can make non-concessional contributions into your accumulation account up to the age 75, and there is no work test anymore on that.
That is correct, yes. Yeah, and I believe the government has been doing this because this is just my opinion, but they, at the end of the day, they want you to be financially independent or self-sufficient in retirement, because and therefore they want you to get as much money into super as possible so you can be self-funded. Whereas if that's not the case, the government, they have to fund you through the age pension, and that's a massive liability on the government. So they want to incentivize people to get as much money into pension phase as possible, into super as possible, so they can be as self-sufficient as possible, so they don't have to foot the bill, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense. The other thing, though, that has occurred to me as we've been having this discussion about this topic and the last topic is how vitally important, or no, maybe how much of a difference you can make to your superannuation outcome around this retirement pension phase to get the structuring right, to make sure you're taking advantage of all the opportunities that you can. It can make a significant difference. Obviously, in pension phase, you're getting taxed at 0%, and accumulation, it's 15% at the moment. So, it definitely, if you're at that age or approaching that age, it's something to think very seriously about.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone wants to have a conversation, feel free to book in a call with me, and more than happy to have a bit of a general chat about things if you're unclear about some of the rules around super, especially around sort of pension phase, and when you're looking to sort of maximize those contributions to boost up your super. We'll be back again shortly. If you like what you're hearing but want a low-cost passive option, Nucleus Wealth is the first to offer passive direct indexing in Australia. The first generation of passive investing was index funds. The next gen was ETFs. Now direct indexing is here with significantly more customization and control. The benefit of direct indexing is you can add or subtract investment themes, and we have almost 100 different options to choose from. For example, you could buy an international share direct index portfolio that excludes fossil fuels and arms manufacturers and has a tilt towards cybersecurity and cloud computing. Alternatively, you could buy a portfolio with no screens and an extra exposure to nuclear power and defense contractors. You can find out more at nucleuswealth.com. Now back to the show. So the next topic I want to talk about, it's not directly related to changes in super for the new tax year, but it is a really excellent opportunity, and a lot of people don't really know about this. Like it's always been around, or it's been around for a long time, but in my conversations with clients over the years, a lot of people don't really know about this one. So I just want to highlight what's called super splitting. I just want to highlight what it is, and then some of the potential advantages and opportunities to take advantage of that there. So the intention behind it is to even up spouses' super balances. So some of the eligibility, so you need to be in a relationship, so you need to be either legally married, in a registered relationship, or in a de facto relationship. And you can split any concessional contributions. So those are employer SG contributions, those are salary sacrifice contributions, and also personal deductible contributions. And within that, you can split up to your 27,500 concessional cap, or also if you've got catch-up contributions and you've made a lump sum contribution that year, you can split those catch-up contributions as well. And with the so when you split them, you can split 85% of those contributions. And essentially, what that is it's all the contributions minus the super contribution tax of 15%. So let's say you put in $10,000, you want to split that. 8,500 can be split and put into your spouse's super. So that's the 10,000 minus the 15% tax, and then the rest can be transferred over.
Can I just jump in there, Sam? Yeah.
Of course.
I like that you just used the word transfer, because so splitting, is that what it's like its technical name is splitting, super splitting? That's what
Yes. Yeah.
The professionals refer to it. But I find it a bit confusing, because it sounds like what has to happen is, so if I use myself as an example, say myself and my partner, say they contribute, as you said, $10,000 to their superannuation, excuse me, and then they want to split some of it to me or all of it. Then what they actually need to do is a transfer from their superannuation account, accumulation superannuation account, I'm assuming, Sam?
Yes, accumulation account.
Mine. So it's sort of make the contribution into the one partner super account, and then transfer it to the other person's superannuation account, and you can access the amount up to the after-tax amount that was contributed. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, so you can do it at any age before you're 65, or the receiving spouse has to be under 65 and still working, so still in accumulation phase. And it's not available for non-concessional contributions, only for the concessional contributions. So you might be thinking, well, why would we want to do this? So now we're going to go through some opportunities and why you'd actually want to do it. So I've written an article, and we've done a Nucleus Wealth and Power before on catch-up contributions. So catch-up contributions, there's a rolling 5-year period, so the previous 5 years. And if you haven't utilized your full concessional contribution cap for that year, that will get accrued on a rolling 5-year basis. And you can put in a lump sum, say this year, to take advantage of those previous years. So that's how the catch-up contributions work. And the benefit of that is, instead of paying tax at your marginal tax rate, which can be up to 45 cents in the dollar plus the 2% Medicare levy, instead of paying tax at your marginal tax rate, you pay tax at the super contributions tax rate, and you get the tax saving difference. So that's how concessional or catch-up contributions work.
Can I ask a question, Sam?
Of course.
Thanks. So with those catch-up contributions and the tax saving difference, how do you receive that? So does it depend how the payment is made? Let's say that I make it out of my after-tax income. So I get paid into my bank account, and then I go and make a payment to my superannuation account. That difference in tax. So again, say that my marginal tax rate is 47%, that 45 plus the 2, and my employer's already applied that before they pay me the cash. Then how does that difference get paid back to me between the 15% that it should be taxed at once I contribute to super, and the 47% that it has been taxed at?
Yeah, good question. So if you do that as a personal deductible contribution, so a lump sum of after-tax money, you will fill out what's called a notice of intent to claim a tax deduction, and you give that to your accountant, or that'll automatically populate if you're doing your tax return, and then you'll get that money back in your tax return. So that's how that works. If it's a salary sacrifice agreement, the tax will automatically be calculated, and it'll just automatically you'll get that tax saving that way.
The employer will take it essentially out of pre-tax income and work out that 15%. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So with the catch-up contributions, you can only make those when your balance is at $500,000 or less. And often what happens is in a relationship, one spouse might be a higher income earner, the other spouse maybe might work less and look after the kids, maybe work part-time. So what tends to happen is one spouse's balance really, super balance really grows, and then the other one doesn't grow nearly as fast. So it's an opportunity to even up those balances by transferring from the high income earner, transferring money into the lower income earner's super. And then you've got longer to take advantage of those catch-up contributions. Because there's quite a lot of tax saving value in those catch-up contributions. And Shelley, what we can do as well is link in the article that I wrote about catch-up contributions. So if there's anything unclear, people can just have a read of it there. It explains.
We'll put the episode as well.
Yeah, it explains what they are, how they work, and then actually how to take advantage of them. And what you can do as well is there's the most benefit from the tax savings on concessional contributions for the higher income earner. So if you're on paying 47 cents in the dollar at your marginal tax rate, including the Medicare levy, and you are only paying 15 cents in the dollar for the super contributions tax rate, you're saving 32 cents in the dollar tax for every dollar that goes in that counts towards your catch-up contributions or your concessional contributions. So what you can do is maximize the super splitting. Like, so you want to pay more into the high income earner, like get the catch-up contributions for them, so you're getting the biggest tax saving and on the way in, and then transfer that money over to your spouse, and you can do that again and again. And then the higher income earner, their supers maybe only growing through growth within the fund rather than contributions, and then just siphon off the funds to the spouse's super, and just sort of even it up that way. So I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. Is that making sense there, Shelley?
It is making sense to me. Hope that it's making sense to the listener as well. But don't forget that you can get in touch if there's any issues. I guess when I'm listening to you saying that, the one thing that seems to me really important to keep in mind is the limits on these things when you're doing them. Would you say, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Because you don't want to go over your concessional contribution limit, because then there's penalty tax to pay. So yeah, you've absolutely got to be aware of the limits.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing is, we touched on it before, the transfer balance cap. So it's obviously just increased to 1.9 million. If one spouse has a really high super balance, and because they've been a high income earner for their whole life, and the other spouse has a low balance, and the high income earner, their balance goes well over 1.9 million, then you're losing the opportunity to get anything over that 1.9 million into that tax-free pension phase. So ideally, you want to keep your balances even as time goes by and as they grow, so you can maximize the amount that you transfer into pension phase. So, if they're, let's say, the total amount you can get into pension phase, if you both got 1.9 million, is 3.8 million. And that's a lot better than, just having 1.9 million from the high income earner, but they've got another 2 million stuck in accumulation phase, paying tax at 15%, and then maybe the other spouse, the lower income earner, maybe only had 500,000 that they could transfer in. So you're essentially missing out on 1.4 million of available money that you could get into that tax-free environment, whereas you'd be paying tax at 15 cents on the dollar if it's in accumulation phase. So have you got any questions around that one, Shelley?
You touched on it, but I guess I feel like I just want to reiterate it because for me it wasn't totally clear. That transfer balance limit or cap of 1.9 million is per person.
Correct.
Which is why this works. So I guess just to reiterate that.
Yes. So super splitting, the intention behind it is to keep balances even, and there's benefits for the transfer balance cap and also for the catch-up contributions and concessional contributions there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And the last 2 points, so let's say you're in a couple and one member of the couple is quite a bit older and the other member is quite a bit younger. So what you can do is you can transfer from the older member to the younger member. And what that can potentially do is allow the older member, when they actually qualify for the age pension, to qualify for a higher pension amount because of how the income test and the asset test work to determine how much pension, age pension you'll get paid out. So if the older member is essentially reducing their balance or keeping their balance lower, then they're going to be entitled to more age pension. And then when the younger spouse, when they retire, then it doesn't matter so much. But there's an opportunity for the years before that younger spouse retires to transfer to them to try and maximize the pension, the age pension that they'll get paid. And I just want to say this is totally legal. There's nothing wrong with this. This is working within the rules. And this is essentially just tax planning, and yeah, so nothing untoward there. It's just understanding the rules and then maximizing them to your advantage. And on the other side of the coin, on that one, with the older member and the younger member, the younger member could super split to the older member. And what that would do is allow you to access that money sooner. And the earliest you can get access to your super is age 60 if you meet a condition of release at age 60, or 65 is an automatic condition of release. So yeah, you can just get your hands on your super sooner if you're in a couple and you want to get that money sooner. So yeah, those are the 4 super splitting opportunities there, Shelley. So have you got any more questions about those?
I don't, not at the moment. Thank you, Sam.
Okay, well that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. So I hope.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So before we say goodbye to the listeners, can you let them know how they can hear more from you, where they can read more from you?
Sure thing. So if anyone wants to book in a call, a no obligation call, you can go to our website, nucleuswealth.com/contact. I'm more than happy to have a no obligation chat about anything discussed here today, or about investing your super, or also making investments outside of super. We offer all different account structures, so individual, joint, personal super, SMSF, company and trust accounts. And we at Nucleus Wealth publish regular articles as well. So there was an article I wrote just recently about this. So you can find that on the nucleuswealth.com website as well, under resources and articles. So yeah, feel free to have a look around in there. We try to put out lots of general information just to help people maximize their super and understand the rules, because we want more informed, engaged investors, because I think that creates a better relationship going forward. So yeah, feel free to have a look around and get in touch if you want to have a conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Sam. All right, so just a couple of points from me before we say goodbye. If you have any suggestions for future topics in Nucleus Wealth in Power or Nucleus Investment Insights, which you can hear live or on demand, that's live at 12:30 every Thursday, 12:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And that's great because you can go and interact with the guys as they're talking about the topic, ask questions, give feedback. So if you have any suggestions for topics, you can let us know, contact@nucleuswealth.com or in the comments section of the YouTube channel. That would be great. If you got something out of this episode or you know someone who might get something out of it, we'd love if you shared it, maybe a colleague, a friend, or a family member, and help our show grow so we can keep bringing you this content that we love making. And I do actually just really want to reiterate that general advice, I guess disclaimer or warning that I gave at the start of the show. Please make sure you consider everything we've discussed here in the context of your personal situation and the relevance to that. And then just lastly, thank you for myself and the team for listening in. We really appreciate having you each episode. So we look forward to catching you on the next one. Bye.